I want to talk about a player who isn't going to get discussed all that much and hasn't really been talked about a lot this year. It's 49ers defensive tackle Javon Kinlaw, former first round draft pick, and as we know, throughout the majority of his career, has had to deal with injuries, which has affected his availability. So he's never really been able to get his footing in the league. Well, this year he's been healthy, and not only that, he's been playing really well and no one's really talking about it. So I figured, you know what? I'm going to do Kinlaw a solid and highlight how well he really is playing. This graphic right here from 49ers Access on Instagram shows what Kinlaw was able to do against the Seahawks, and he had himself a pretty solid game. 4 pressures, 3 total tackles, 1 tackle for loss, and a half a sack. That's not bad for filling in for Eric Armstead. I remember I could see all the way from my seats when I was at the game him absolutely destroy the guard, beat him with a mean swipe, got right in the backfield, tackled Zach Charbonnet for that tackle for a loss. He beat the right guard so quick. There's nothing he could do. And to be honest, Javon Kinlaw gets a bad rap for where he was drafted. Obviously, he was effectively traded for DeForest Buckner. 49er fans love DeForest Buckner. So it was a really hard situation for him from the jump. And as you know, he's been dealing with injuries. So it's just been a lot kind of put on his plate and having to work through. But boy, is he really rounding out into a really, really good player. On the season, he has 27 total pressures. That's pretty awesome for an interior defensive tackle who only plays rotationally. He's got 3 sacks and 2 quarterback hits, and he's added 22 quarterback hurries. He's got 2 batted balls, 13 tackles, 1 assisted tackle, and he's really been playing well. Um, Again, I talk about it weekly whether I talk about the defense or do defensive film breakdowns. Kinlaw is a guy that flashes on tape for me pretty consistently. Whether it's in the run game, whether it's him getting improving as a pass rusher. I mean, he's leaned out so much. A guy that's his size. He's what is he? 6'5", 320 pounds, and has a 6-pack. That shouldn't happen. That there shouldn't be players like that, but that's what Javon Kinlaw is, and he's filling in well, especially for Eric Armstead, who goes down, and Javon Hargrave dealing with a hamstring injury. Even though Kinlaw is in the second line of rotation on the interior defensive line, they still play quite a bit. Him and Gibbons play a decent amount because, as you know, they're constantly rotating defensive players, and Javon Kinlaw gets a lot of reps. But again, what has been really cool to watch about Javon Kinlaw is his maturation process. I think as an individual, I believe as a player, he is maturing into the guy that we thought he could be. Honestly, I do think Kinlaw is he could be a starter on this defense. He really could. He could be a starting defensive tackle, but we just have 2 of the best defensive tackles in the entire league ahead of him. He really could be playing next to Hargrave, or he could be playing next to Armstead and be playing really well. I know Kinlaw's had his ups and downs with this time with the San Francisco 49ers, but to be honest, man, he deserves his flowers for one, just being able to stay healthy, stay available, and being able to bounce back through all the criticism, through all the negativity that's kind of surrounded him. He's really been able to put his head down, stay focused, and get after it. And he's doing such a phenomenal job. Again, like, he's not a player like I've had him on the channel. We did a great interview. I've got a lot of respect for Javon Kinlaw, and I've always believed in him as a player. And it is really cool to see him kind of come into that and grow into that. And he deserves all the credit in the world, because let's not pretend like all this pressure, all this negativity, and all dealing with all these injuries wasn't difficult to be able to overcome, and he's done it. So he deserves credit for that. He deserves credit for how well he is playing, and just wanted to take a moment to recognize what he's done this season, how he's filling in right now, and the impact that he is making. The question becomes, who's paying Javon Kinlaw? Is it the 49ers? I don't know. They got some other guys that they need to pay, so he could be a potential cap casualty at the end of the season. The 49ers opted not to pick up his option. However, I don't think that's terrible news for Javon, because I think he's going to get paid. I think when the football guys turn on the tape and you see the impact that he is having, whether on the statistical sheet or not, he's making impact plays, and he's making it really hard on interior offensive linemen. So I think he's playing well enough to get the bag. I don't know if it's going to be from the 49ers at the end of the year, but my hope for him is that regardless of what happens, is that he's able to get a deal that really helps set him up and his family for long-term success and allows him continue to thrive and grow and build into this position and into the player that we all believed he could be when he was drafted. He was raw out of South Carolina. He had all the measurables, the tools, the size, and just has really dealt with an unfortunate hand with injuries. But he's been able to overcome it, stay healthy, and he's getting after it. I have a lot of fun watching Javon Kinlaw, and I want to know what you guys think about Javon Kinlaw. Do you think that the 49ers could bring him back next year, or do you think he's pricing himself out, which again sucks for the 49ers, but is phenomenal for him and his family if he can go out and get the bag from someone else? I think of like Charles Omenihu, who the 49ers traded a 5th-round draft pick for, and then he goes and signs a multi-year deal, a very lucrative deal at that, with the Chiefs. DJ Jones, the 49ers drafted him, re-signed him to a almost minimum 1-year deal. Then he goes and signs a lucrative deal with the Broncos. That's kind of what I envision for him. Just like I said, the 49ers are going to be tight against the cap this offseason. Brandon Ayuk needs to get paid. Maybe Talanoa Hufanga's injury kind of pushes that out a little bit. But who knows? Who knows? I think he's loved in that locker room. I think everyone respects him, respects his grind. He did a video not too long ago talking about how Eric Armstead has really helped him. I would love to see him stick around, but the bottom line is he's playing good ball. I think he's going to get paid, whether by us or by someone else, and he's deserving of it. And I wanted to give Javon Kinlaw his flowers, because everyone that I can think of that I know who talks about 49ers football, outside a very select few, and there are, I think of Jordan Elliott, I think of him, I think of other guys, but there's very select few who held out hope for Javon Kinlaw, and he's playing really, really well. He deserves his flowers. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.